Hi guys, I'm Kasha. Welcome to the channel and welcome as always to our coffee times to talk about horror. And today we're here to talk about one of the new releases from 2022, The Initiation.
It's coffee time.
So honestly, I had been seeing this trailer in the cinema for a while and I was not really excited to go and watch the film because this trailer was so long and honest to God spoiled the whole movie. So my advice is, if you've already seen the trailer, you can actually skip the movie because it is all on the trailer. So this one is gonna go down in the history of worst trailers of all times. Now, for the sake of this video review, I am not gonna go into spoilers. I'm also going to avoid a lot of things that you get to see in the trailer in case there are people that are watching my review that have not even seen the trailer, because I feel like they could have been so much smarter about it and they could have presented the trailer in another way where certain reveals and things that happen could have had a bigger impact in the movie. This is an American horror thriller directed by Jessica M. Thompson, and they took as inspiration a classic book from horror. I'm not gonna mention that book because, you know, it gives away kind of the plot twist of the film. But if you've already seen the movie, you probably know which classic I'm talking about. After the death of her mother and Evie not having any other living relatives that she knows, she decides to take a DNA test, kind of as a fun thing to see if she can find any other living relatives. So she discovers a long-lost cousin that she's never heard of from England, the UK, and she's really excited to meet somebody from her family. Invited by her newfound family to a lavish wedding in the English countryside, Evie is at first excited. However, she's soon thrust into a nightmare of survival as she uncovers twisted secrets about her family history and the unsettling intentions behind their sinful generosity. So Nathalie Emmanuel plays Evie Evelyn, and she is one of our main characters here, and I did like her as a character. I feel like she's your typical relatable character, strong female lead. And you know, as we have seen in the recent years, these female leads are not gonna take any shit from anybody and they are strong-willed, but at the same time they also always tend to fall in love for the wrong one. She's a struggling New York artist and she works as a waitress to try to pay her bills, and so when she is basically transported to this amazing mansion in the English countryside, she's a little bit overwhelmed. For the one part, she wants to connect with these family members that she's never heard of, and on the other hand she starts to grow a little bit suspicious about the family and their intentions with her. I feel like I get why a lot of people say that this movie has a little bit of Get Out in it, because Evie, our main character, is the only person of color in the whole mansion apart from the help, so you have that contrast there. However, that theme is not really being explored to its potential, so it's something that it's kind of hinted at but then also kind of left there, and they didn't utilize it as much as they could have. It also has been mentioned that it's similar to Ready or Not, and I do see that the movie has slight influences of Get Out or Ready or Not, but the movie is not as good as those other two, so let me put that out there in case you were getting excited. Thomas Dorothy is fantastic in this film. I think he's so charismatic and he was a perfect choice for the lord, the owner of this mansion and the host of all of these events. He plays the lord, like I said, of this mansion called Walter, and I think he had a lot of personality for this character. I think it really did suit him, and I love to see him and his dynamic with Evie as a character. However, Evie is another of those characters that seems they've never seen a horror movie before and thus make questionable decisions throughout the whole film. You know, it is a shame that this movie was not as good as I hoped, because there was a lot of love put into the sets and the cinematography, and I think they did you know, accomplished to give us that kind of gothic haunted mansion feeling. And I did enjoy to see all the sets as well as all the costumes. I love to see the costume design in this film, and those are things that were wonderful but couldn't really redeem a lot of things from the film. The setting is this isolated mansion in the English countryside. It is a big place. It is full of old art and weird places. There is this library that she's not allowed to enter because they are renovating, so you immediately know there's something wrong behind that door. So everything is creating this eerie, spooky atmosphere, and the movie started not too bad. Actually, at the beginning it was quite enjoyable, but like halfway through the film it just takes a turn, and I was not happy with that change. It basically turns from a kind of eerie gothic tale into a horror comedy, and it just was not a seamless change of tone. It was really abrupt, and from that point on I lost all credibility of this film, and it was just as well predictable. There were a lot of things that I could see happening miles away. There was things that happened later that the moment I saw some objects, some things at the beginning, I knew what they were for. I knew what they were going to be used for. And you know, that might be just me because I pay too much attention to detail, but I did feel like this movie was predictable. And if you thought that I was already disappointed because of this change of tone in the film, wait until you get to the end, because this ending was really disappointing. I was not happy at all with the ending, and there is kind of like a post scene after the ending that was just like, what the actual hell? Like, why? How? No. So no, I was on board with the movie, I feel like, for the first half of it, and then they just lost me. It's like they started with a concept, and then halfway through the movie they're like, nah, let's make this fun. And they just went for something different, and it just didn't work for me. When it comes to the horror, the movie had potential because of the whole atmosphere. They had the setting. They had this beautiful isolated mansion that gets really creepy in the middle of the night. There is shadows in every corner, behind every door, and even though there are a couple of good accomplished creepy moments, I feel like the film does try to show a lot of the things that are lurking in the dark, and there are many really dark shots where you can slowly see something lurking in the dark and stuff like that. And there are some jump scares that are forced and others that kind of worked for me. So it was a mixed bag when it comes to the jump scares, but in general, when it comes to the horror, the movie was a little bit tropey. Now, this movie is also a PG-13 movie, which means that they were not allowing themselves to go all out there with certain things when it comes to horror. And I think that was something that was a disadvantage for this movie, because they could have went a little bit further with the horror. It would have helped a little bit, because this movie turned out to be a horror comedy at some point, and then the horror was PG-13. And I don't know, that combination just never works for me. And basically the horror element in this movie is something that it is supposed to be a plot twist, but for everybody that has seen the trailer, it's already spoiled for you. That's one of the biggest issues with this movie. There is no tension, there is no fear, there is no, oh my god, you know, this thing happened, or oh my god, I didn't see that coming, because you've been fed the whole movie from beginning to end through the trailer. Like, I kid you not, beginning to end. So it is really frustrating because I was watching the film and I knew the things that were coming, so there is no surprise, everything's predictable. The horror was not like anything amazing or anything that I have not seen before, and this change of tone in the middle of the film was not for me. The ending was disappointing, so at the end of the day, this felt like such a wasted opportunity to me. So at the end of the day, you guys, I ended up giving this movie a 2 out of 5. I felt like they could have used things like servitude and, you know, the white people inviting this girl of color there for a specific purpose. Like, there were so many things that they could have used to really go further into the lines of Get Out, or they could have went a little bit more out on the horror and not do a PG-13, and then it could have been a bit more like Ready or Not, because Ready or Not has humor, but they know how to do it right, and the horror that we get in that movie is excellent, whilst here is just not. So I feel like it was kind of like a big disappointment for me. I mean, I don't know what I was expecting. If the trailer already tells you everything, it's kind of pointless to watch a movie because you already know what's gonna happen. So anyways, you guys, with this, let me tell you that if you have the option to watch this at home, I would recommend you to do so. I don't feel like you specifically need a big screen for this one, and also if you have to pay for it, I would say, you know, save your money to go watch something else, because it's nothing special. It's tropey, we've seen it before, and I really hated the ending. Alright guys, so sorry for being a little bit negative with this one. It was just a big letdown for me. I was kind of excited in a way because I was like, oh, maybe even though the trailer tells me a lot, maybe I'll still have a really good time. But it was just so disappointing. So anyways, let me know down below if you've seen the movie, what you thought of it. Have you seen the trailer? Do you think it's spoilery? Because I feel like it tells you the whole movie. Let's talk about it in the comments down below. If you're gonna put spoilers, please remember to put a big spoiler disclaimer before your comment. And thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope to see you all in the next coffee time. Bye!